Hi guys, hope everyone's well. Today we're going to explore the reasons why a 16-year-old should and shouldn't join the Royal Marines. Obviously a lot of young lads and now ladies are looking to join at this age, straight out of school. But obviously there's concerns from them and family members whether they should or shouldn't join. Okay, so let's explore first of all why people think that they shouldn't join at 16 years old. This can be a number of things. Obviously, you join the Royal Marines, which is an elite organisation. Training is extremely intense and the volume is extremely high when it comes to the physicality of it and just the overall training period. It's the longest basic training in the world, and it's now been extended an extra 4 weeks with ROP. So, it's justifiable to have concerns at a young age. It's a challenge for anyone at any age, let alone someone who's pretty much just done their GCSEs and now they're going into this world. So a few things to look at then. Why someone wouldn't be ready to join at 16 would be, in my opinion, two areas. One would be maturity. Bearing in mind you're 16 years old, so life experience might be quite low. You might still live at home and never really travelled or never really experienced arduous situations. However, you might have left home at 12 and been bored in school for 4 years, and you might have quite hard family background, and therefore you're far more mature than another 16-year-old would be. So it really does depend on the individual in that circumstance. I know plenty of 25-year-old, 30-year-olds who are far less mature than some 16-year-olds. Some of the messages I get from the younger lads are unbelievably mature, and it shows great depth of their knowledge and their train of thought and how seriously they're taking sort of the joining process to the Royal Marines. And so to those lads and to those with experience, and obviously ladies now, I'd say there's nothing stopping you to join at 16 when it comes to maturity if you feel like you're developed in that area. The other area I would say is physicality. How physically developed are you? Some 16-year-olds are still, quite young and in their body, haven't quite developed, haven't got their adult strength yet. But then obviously we see in the Premiership the likes of Wayne Rooney. At the age of 16, he was playing elite level football, shoulder barging fully grown men off the ball. And so, at 16-year-old Wayne Rooney is almost not fully developed, but he's definitely far stronger than most people, even in their 20s and 30s. So this is a real major area of concern for someone joining at 16. Are you physically able to handle the stresses of Royal Marines training? And it's something that you can find out by maybe a few months to a year, really pushing your training hard before looking to join the Royal Marines. Maybe joining a boxing club or something like that, and seeing where you lie and where your weaknesses are, and sort of justifying whether you think you can join from a physical point of view. It's not just the cardio and it's not just the body weight work that's going to be detrimental to maybe younger people joining. It's the yomping and the load carrying. Out in Afghanistan, obviously we carry an extremely heavy amount of kit for a long period of time on operations in 50 degrees heat and very high and hostile territories. So obviously in training as well, you're doing 30 milers with kit. You're doing long yomps in your exercises. You're doing a 12-mile load carry. You could be lifting very close to body weight as well for periods of time. So from a physical point of view, it's extremely important that you are prepared and you are physically developed before joining. However, if you're fully mature or you've got lots of life experience and you're pretty well developed at 16, then I don't see why there's an issue with joining. One thing to bear in mind is that you won't go on operations until at least 18. So you might find that frustrating if you've passed out, say, as an original, and then you see the rest of your troop going off on operations and you've got to wait behind for a year or two before you can do it. But that's just one byproduct of joining at 16 years old. I've got a good friend who joined with me. He joined at 16. Struggled with the admin side of things, struggled maybe with the maturity side of things, but very physically fit. You know, never had any issues with that area, very strong with his yomping. And he got back trooped a fair few times, but he still passed out sort of 17, 18 years old. And so still very, very young to become a Royal Marines Commando. And going through that time in training where he was getting back trooped and let down and failing, you know, a fair amount of things, that built his experience. So just because you haven't got life experience going in at 16 years old doesn't mean you're not going to get it when you go in. You know, the best life experience you're going to get is through military training and military lifestyle. So these are all things to bear in mind. Really important to talk through with family members, parents, friends, those that have gone before you, and just have a think. You know, be honest with yourself. Are you ready? Do you need a few more years development? Maybe you need to go off and do university or college or some traveling or get a job in the real world for a bit, and then come back in and revisit in a few years where you're more developed mentally and physically. Hope that helps. I think the sort of conclusion of the video is there's no issues with a 16-year-old joining, but it's something you need to really examine yourself and really ask those searching questions. Are you ready for it or not? Cheers, guys. Hope that helps.